and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings, a pro wrestling podcast. Let me back up from my mic a little bit here. Sheesh. I'm Justin, here with Meelz. Welcome back, Meelz. What's going on?
I'm back in the swing of things for now. How have you been over the last 2 weeks, sir?
Been good, man. Obviously we're still in moving mode or move
Mm,
in mode.
mm.
Still in move in mode. Things are going smoothly. I got my little setup here. I need a new desk, man. I asked the Discord today what they
Tiny
wanted.
desk.
No, I don't need a tiny desk. I feel like my desk right now is tiny enough, but
They made I made a Virginia quote about these desk things and got the wrath of Virginia was sent my way.
yeah, yeah, as you should have been, as it should have happened.
Only big desk in Virginia. I'm sorry. Let's see. Huh. You know what? I have a with your desk thing. First of all, we're talking about a lot of stuff, like purchasing a lot of stuff like that. Like you join the Discord and figure out which bidet you need for your apartment or house or whatever. Um,
We could talk about it. We can continue the agenda. If you
the
guys
bidet
haven't
agenda.
the bidet agenda, if you guys
Okay,
haven't heard the latest episode of the Black Print with myself and Josh Pease,
I have not
first
heard it as of yet. By the way, plan on
oh you
listening
have
to it
okay.
during my walk. Yeah.
Yeah, the first 15 minutes you're gonna be. I can't wait for your text about this episode. We talk about the bidet that we have in my place, and I didn't really use the bidet. My wife had one. When we lived in our apartment, and I stayed away from it. I was like, "What is this?" And then one day, I got caught slipping, and I had to use the bidet we had here. And I said, "You know what, man? This is a different type of vibe. Put it on the power level 4, and we good to go."
Now, I've never used the bidet. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've never been in that part of. I've never been lapped by the lap of luxury with a bidet. But you know what? Half made me. I looked on Amazon. I was trying to say, but I don't know. I don't want to buy the thing is you don't want to buy a cheap bidet. You know what I'm saying? Like, or do
But
you?
a cheap bidet. Well, here's the thing. There's no real cheap. It's all luxury here. You
Okay.
always talk about getting the Aston Martin of bidets,
Yes.
and I'm
It's
like, do you
clearly.
really? And that's like the hot cold ones. And I hate that this conversation is carrying on to two. It's carrying on to two different podcasts that I'm on. Period.
Sure.
But like, it's either you want cold water in your booty or you want warm, lukewarm water in your booty. Either way,
Don't you want the option though? Like not even all right, say let's say you use the cold water one. Wouldn't you still want the option just in case like all right, I clearly need to get everything out. Might need to go warm on this one. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, that's fine. But cold can still do that job. Like warm, like listen, there ain't nothing that'll destroy that a bidet can do to destroy bacteria and shit. This is just to clean out the booty hole. Like so I don't know
Not yet.
not yet. This is just to make sure that you don't got little, I don't
You
want to
don't
get too
be
explicit.
carrying little
Yeah.
little chunks, little fuzz balls, or something. You
Some,
don't
some
carry
hanger
nothing.
ons, some hangers ons. You know what I'm saying?
Good Lord, we need a sponsor.
We need a bidet sponsor.
We need a bidet sponsor. We definitely need a bidet sponsor. I want to tell you about something that's been irking me and still has irked me today.
What's that?
So of course, because I definitely sent it to you already. So I haven't got a lot of sneakers this year at all, period. Not interested. A majority of them are dunks at this point of various different shades, flavors, colors, and they've increased the price of everything at this point. Um, I have not gotten a lot of sneakers, but I decided, okay, let me see what I can do with these. Ooh, fuck, I forgot what the actual other name for it.
Fire red?
Yeah, the fire red threes. Let me at least. And I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna try it, but if I don't get it, it's fine because last time when I tried the blue The blue threes that came out a couple months ago, I didn't like them at all. I didn't like the just how the cement part looked or anything of the red. I didn't like any of it at all. So I said, you know what, let me try this one. Whatever. I really like red. I want to show up. I want to show out. I've seen people wearing them out. So I said, you know, let me buy them. First of all, they're $210. Fuck me for that. And not to say that I can't, but it's just like clearly shoes now beyond the resale point of it are just becoming more expensive just in general. So
Mhm.
I bought these shoes and I'm very, very damn
Look at that. That's
Nike
Nike.
police,
That's the Nike spies. Uh-huh.
Nike spies, the Nike stormtroopers. No, I'm disappointed at these shoes and the quality of these shoes, man. The cement shit, and I'll send a picture I'll post it on on my timeline, and should I tag Nike?
Yeah, you
Would
should.
that
I mean,
be
they usually work with you. I'm pretty sure they have a couple of them in the factory because they've been releasing every day since they came out a week ago. So
No, the cement things on the back of mine is just it's so disgusting. It is so disgraceful. It is so insulting. And I'm just like, yo, who does quality assurance on these shoes anymore? You making me pay $210 for these shoes, and they look terrible. It look like someone drew on the cement. I was so confused, man.
to be fair, and not to defend it, but to be fair,
Okay,
um, factory mishaps happen, and it seems like you
sure.
got like maybe like a B grade that wasn't supposed to be there. It
I'm
should
gonna send it to you again,
it
just so you see it again.
but I'm saying just so that okay. You just sent me the picture, dude. You have been mad about this for days.
I've been mad
It almost
because
looks like you got a general release pair on accident, but it's really the men's pair because the general release pairs they have the cement, but you can basically like run your fingers through it, and there's no surface to it. It's just like basically like a screen print of cement on the grade school
Mhm.
pairs. It looks like that's what it looks like, even though you still have some detail on the cement, right? It just looks like somebody erased it or tried to erase it.
Yeah, yeah. This is disgusting to me. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like the quality I expect from Nike at this point, especially when it comes to any cement shoes and stuff like that. And in the next couple of weeks, October 1st had other shoes coming out, the black ones that I really really like. Um Actually, I'm not even sure if I'm a fan of them. Oh god, what are they called? I wish Rob was here. The I'm scrolling. Oh, they did restock them again today. Um
They've been coming out every day.
Let's see. Hold on. I forgot what they're called. What are those ones that come out October 1st? Skull, black. There we go. Retro. Oh, Gore-Tex off Noir. What the fuck? All right. I just want shoes.
What, what,
Um,
what type of lenses you getting, man? What type of shoes is you getting, man? What
I'm
what is
trying
that?
to. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just a purveyor. I just like nice sneakers from time to time, and the fact that this came and I spent so much money on it.
You got
Oh,
more
so
sneakers than me.
retro.
Where do you
More sneakers than you. Fuck out of here. When you die, I'm getting your sneakers. By the way, if you die before me, God forbid. But and we're not in like the same car or something. Um, but these ones I just sent you, I really do like. Kind of.
Oh, the
Um,
the light steel fours. They should be
yeah,
easy to get. They should be easy to get. These are you know what? These are some New York ass fours. Okay, all black, made just for walking and being on subways, walking in snow, walking over doo doo and rats and all the time.
Wait, I didn't expect all of this. Holy fuck.
This is a New York ass sneaker right here.
I
It's
feel it.
black, gray, gloomy, depressing. This is the New York
Okay.
sneaker right here, man.
The
Yeah,
black
I
cat
get it.
stealing style too, and
Yeah,
it got a hint of a little red on it. Listen,
this is
the Munch
the
fours.
yeah, the Munch fours, the black Air Force One fours. This is definitely some because the I wouldn't I listen. I'm not trying to deter you from getting these shoes. I wouldn't wear these shoes because it's
See,
too much
that's what
sun
I'm
outside.
thinking. Well, oh, okay, yes, that's where you're at. You're saying you wouldn't
It's
wear
more
these
than life.
shoes.
It's more than life. It's more than life than these sneakers, Meals. Get the taxi ones that are coming out next weekend.
Okay.
Oh, they're coming out this weekend. I'm bugging.
Taxi ones. Oh damn, I gotta return these shoes. Um, taxi ones. Ooh, I do like those. Yes, I do. I do. I'm just gonna have to pay resale for them. This is the game now. This is it's just what it is. This is the life that we live.
See, I've been trying to sell a pair of. Okay, let me Stussy denim tears jeans for days now, and I feel like nobody wants to spend any money. And I'm like, what? Where are y'all PPP loans at, man?
It's we're in the throes of, listen, inflation, recession is coming. A lot of things are deterring people. Listen, it might be dead for sneakers next year. Sneakers raise their price, and it's supposed to be a recession coming. Are we supposed to be just buying sneakers? Who's to say everybody's sneakers won't look as crummy and shitty as mine did? You know?
Recession for who?
Oh wow. Okay. All right. Okay. Big business
That's
over
where I'm
here.
coming. Yeah, that's where I'm coming. That's how I'm coming. Recession for
Okay.
who?
Oh,
Hey, you in the Discord, man? Recession for who?
No, sir.
You feel me?
bullshit. Listen, come on, man. You're not
Ain't
gonna
no
act.
recession for you either. I don't know why you acting like that.
What do you mean? It's recession
Ain't no
for
recession for you.
everybody.
Ain't no recession for Millsy.
Hey, come
What?
on, man. Listen, I live
You
in New
getting the
York.
goddamn? You getting the MOP Annie up fours?
I live in New. Listen, that's funny as fuck. I live in New York. All right. Have you seen my mayor?
Oh
Recession
wow,
for
Mixie Mayor.
everybody.
You got the Mixie Mayor.
Mixie Mayor, absolutely. Mixie Mayor Adams. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But I do like these Air Jordan ones. Yeah, these taxi ones. They look fantastic. I think I will try my hand at them over the weekend. And you know what? They might go well with our A show shirt. Hopefully you guys
They
have bought
will.
it.
They will. I just passed Josh P's one of the shirts.
Okay.
He appreciated that. He was like, "How did you know?" He was like, "What design is it from?" I said, "Well, you know what, man, Meelz really put his whole foot in the bag for this one." I gave him the history of it.
Okay. I feel good about it. I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Now hopefully he
So
wears it.
well, he will. But do you have any more? Do you have any more? Qualms with sneakers right now? Because I feel like that's when you get in your soapbox with sneakers.
Um no, not right now. No, no.
You got any job related stuff? I know someone asked me for office hours. We haven't done that in a
Ooh,
minute.
okay. Let's see. Office hours. Do I have any job related issues that I care? People from my job actually might listen to this podcast now. Let's see. Let me come back to you next week. Next week, I'll promise some
Okay.
office hours for
Yeah,
sure.
that's next week. Office hours next week. All right. So we're gonna go to Patreon real quick. We're gonna talk about some things upon things, and we'll be right back on the A Show. All right. No holds barred. I want to get right to some stuff that happened literally a couple minutes ago.
Okay.
Tony Khan doing the rounds in New York for a Grand Slam. He says, and I quote, "We're running a lot of great shows around the Northeast. It's so many great wrestling markets in one geographic region. I'll say it. It's the crown jewel of wrestling markets, the real crown jewel of wrestling markets, not some BS overseas in Saudi Arabia. The real crown jewel, New York City, is where you want to be."
That was so unwarranted that it doesn't. To me, it's bordering more on the line of pathetic than actually anything
Uh,
of any note or sound.
Pathetic, obsessive,
Yeah.
reactionary. He would not have said this. I'm sorry. He would not have
WWE
said this if it did not
WWE's
bull.
not even talking about Crown Jewel right now. Why is he?
Well, I mean, they're talking about it. I mean, they got a main event lined up for it. But do you think Tony would have said that if they hadn't have done that press conference and main event announcement on Saturday? Hell no.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. They are talking about Crown Jewel. I'm bugging.
Yeah,
Um, nah. But when you read that quote, you can literally reread it in Donald Trump's voice. By the way,
the real
the
crown jewel.
real Crown Jewel. Okay. You can literally read in Donald Trump's voice. I don't know. This seems very um reactionary. Doesn't seem. I feel like especially after the last month of everything that's going on in the professional wrestling world. It feels like this should be one of the last things that he's doing, is talking about any other company besides his, considering how he can't even talk about his own EVPs on on TV. So it's like, I feel like he shouldn't be talking about any other companies. I think every time WWE does something, I think he legitimately feels threatened, as if they're doing it despite him, which I don't think is the case, because it's not even a clear comparison of like Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul. There's nothing that we're not comparing that to John Moxley versus Bryan Danielson at all. Like, it's just not. You know what it is. It's professional wrestling. He studied professional wrestling. And I think one of the best things that A Plus said last week when I was listening to the show was like, what are his credentials for actually running a wrestling company? Because literally, if you go back to 2019, 2018, his credentials are no bigger than yours or mine. He just has way more money. Um, he is definitely running the company like a Mark, and this was a very Mark thing to say. Uh,
It was so Twitter, so like Reddit for him to say that. You know, like, and again, we're not getting into the politics of this whole
can
thing.
we
It's
find his accounts? Like, can we find his Reddit's accounts? Can we find his GameFAQs accounts? Can we find his?
game facts. That's how I know you had one.
I absolutely did have one. Best way to
But
feel about wrestling.
my thing is this, man. You live in a glass house that has a bunch of cracks in it right now, and one of the windows is busted out. A couple of them, about 7 of them, are busted out right now. Why are you doing this?
To promote Grand Slam. Which, to be fair,
Does this promote Grand Slam or make people go Google WWE Saudi Arabia and then see Logan Paul and Roman Reigns, and that's the first, and then they say, "Damn, I'm gonna watch that too." Then
goddamn, they find the shit out of Anthony Edwards. Well, actually, not really find the shit. All right. Um, no, but my thing is like, you want to make sure that the headline is about the show that you have coming. And I would do that by all purposes, considering how the headlines have been over the last month. AW Grand Slam looks to be essentially a great light, a great thing coming on the beacon. Because to be honest with you, I'm looking at the card and everyone that's featured. It's a pay-per-view level show. It's actually a great television wrestling thing that they got going on, and I would focus on that. But to say stuff like that to me doesn't make any sense. I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing, man? Come on. I would be if I was a talent there, I would be tight that my boss can't even like promote my match and say it's going to be good, but want to talk about WWE stuff. To be honest with you,
I mean, and you're talking about the Northwest. Y'all run the Northwest every other week with Chicago,
the Northeast.
or I'm sorry, the Northeast. Sorry, like you
Ain't
do it
touching
every
Northwest.
other week, huh?
I said they ain't touching the Northwest.
Yeah, no, hell no. They're not even gonna sniff that for a couple years. But it's
No,
like,
but yeah, no. I mean, but here's the thing: it's always been a great wrestling town for in the Northeast, New York, Philadelphia.
and even still, WWE is running Extreme Rules there in 2 weeks, and it's sold out.
They're
What are
gonna
you
be at the
saying?
Barclays Center, and pretty much the night after that, or a couple days after that, like they're gonna be in the Northeast. Like, who cares? It's the Northeast has been a great wrestling thing. I don't know. I don't get the point of what he was saying. I really don't. This is wild. Billionaires.
Billionaires, I tell you, billionaires. Speaking of, let's stay on Tony Khan for a second. It's been rumored by Fightful Select that the I don't, was it Revolution, AEW Revolution, one of them is going to be at the Cow Palace in the Bay Area.
Bay Area, isn't it? um, nice.
The only thing in the Cow Palace is cows. Okay, let's just be clear.
It's a barn. It's a giant barn.
Rodeos. I think I saw a couple days ago. There's going to be a cat festival.
Who used to
Uh,
wrestle at the Cow Palace? Let me see. Let me look it up. Let me do my own these days in wrestling. Let's go.
Cow Palace has been privy to some pretty historic moments in wrestling history. None in the past couple years. So maybe he's trying to bring the energy back, because that's a really hard venue to get to from
According to
where
the
it's like,
internet, WWE has not ran a show at the Cow Palace since October 28, 2005.
damn. But
Good
that's
lord.
probably that's about the time when the Cow Palace kind of fell out of favor with a lot of different places too, though. A lot of different leagues and shit like that too, though.
Oh, they hosted Super Brawl 2000 for WCW. Let's look at this card, Mr. WCW guy.
You hear this?
Main event: Sid Vicious defeats Scott Hall and Jeff Jarrett in a triple threat match to retain the WCW championship. This is 2000, by the way. The year 2000. Good lord.
What a year! I mean, this is just a year removed from
Also,
the
Hulk Hogan
invasion.
defeats Lex Luger in the year 2000. In 2000? The year 2000? Good lord. All right. Maybe I will have to watch this show. Um, but yes, the Cow Palace. I mean, if it didn't smell bad enough, now it'll just be awful. But you know what? I think they're trying to expand their entity before they go back to Chicago, for sure.
Whatever. Good luck. Good luck at the Cow Palace. Good luck to everyone going there trying to get in that bitch. That shit's not easy to get to. Let's talk about Malachi Black for a second.
Ooh, okay, sure.
We had heard about his
Tommy End currently, yes.
we heard about his release. We had heard it been granted. I think a couple of sources that we had internally said that that was the case, and he confirms it on a Instagram post. And it's considered a statement that he put out a couple of days ago, talking about a lot of the things that have been going on professionally, personally, emotionally, physically, and mentally for him and his wife. Of course, we know her as Zelina in WWE. Um, really lengthy, really classy. One thing about Tommy and Malachi Alistair, he has always been a class act.
I feel like he's about his business.
Yeah, both professionally, personally, I feel like he really is a class act. From the way that he carried himself after he was released to the way he's carried himself now, he has been very open and vocal and transparent. And I think that's something that is missing with a lot of wrestlers. And I don't feel like we're being like kayfabed or worked or whatever. Like it feels like this is really what he was trying to do. You know. Um, what are some things you took away from this? I know that you posted it in our chat and you said that you liked the cadence of it and you liked the tone of it. What were some things that stuck out to you in the statement?
Well, one thing that stuck out to me is in terms of, I guess, prioritizing his own mental health. He says that a lot of the well, first of all, I just want to say that this was kind of like, in terms of how wrestlers should handle things, like, I'm looking at this alongside in the same week where we have Velveteen Dream having to go on Instagram Live to make sure that people know that EC3 does coke and that he was not taking pictures of people's genitals in the bathroom. Um, the way Aleister Black, Tommy Yen handled this, to me, kind of cleared everything up, talked about it, said, listen, I want to be completely open about it, kind of cleared the air so there's no room for uncertainty, because I feel like, especially considering the temperature of how wrestling is reported over the last month, he didn't want anything kind of up to chance, coming up to speculation, up to tribalism, anything of the sort. Oh, he's just trying to get out his thing so he could run back to Triple H. He completely, I guess, described that as, this was a bigger deal for me more than anything. There were situations that I was going through. I was promised things. I think that was another a highly noticeable thing. I was
Mm-hmm.
promised things um, going into it, and promises were not kept. Um,
Our RNC scoops once again. We did hear about that about a month ago. Um, we had been hearing that he was unhappy, and
we've heard a lot
uh,
of people are unhappy, but he's just the one that got away.
yeah, he just only got away. And he talked about his back problems and his physical issues that he thought he would have to retire, which none of us knew about. And I think that was what kept him off of WWE for a while. Remember, he had been gone for a minute, and it was because of that injury, I believe.
Also,
Um,
how I mean, I also want to think of it. I don't want to put too much things in his mouth, but like, how mad would you be when also your boss, your CEO, is going on whatever radio show and saying, "I got him for 5 more years, 7 more years, so he ain't
Mhm.
going nowhere." You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I mean that to me it was another foot and mouth moment because you just don't if you are the good billionaire, that everyone loves online, you're the good billionaire. I don't think you would say something like that. Like that's just crazy. And for him to come out and say, a lot of things didn't go my way, didn't shake out, it just didn't work. It didn't work for him. AEW didn't work for him. And you know what? It probably doesn't work for you know. There might be other people that leave that it didn't work for. Cody, it might not. It didn't work for him either. But I think that with him, he said, for the first time in my life, I want to take some time off. He deserves that. He deserves that.
Absolutely. Especially considering I believe his wife is also suffering some
And
sort of injury that's been keeping her out.
well, he also mentioned, I believe one of their close friends or family members that had gone through an ordeal as well that had affected them as well. So I mean, they could both be going through something, and I do feel as though there needs to be some type of situation or ability that wrestlers can go take some time off and just get centered and get right with themselves. This is a tough business, and we don't realize how much these guys travel and how much they work and how physical toll on their body that takes, and then they have to keep up with their body. Like, it is a tough job, and I do think there needs to be some type of cycling out in and out. You know what I mean? Like, I think that I would implore either AEW, WWE, or anyone to like to do that. I mean, look at Roman. But the thing is that Roman had look at where he had to reach in order for him to get that. You know, it took a minute. It took 10 years.
It's not where you start, it's where you end up.
Huh?
It's not where you start, it's where you end up. Is what I'll say about that. But uh no, I think overall, I think this quote was a this is how you do things. This is how you handle your business kind of in the wrestling business. And you don't always need you may not always feel like you need to um explain yourself to everybody. You may not feel like you need to offer people this opinions, but I think just with the general temperature of how things are going on, you don't really want to leave things up to speculation and leaves up things up to the rumor mill, because that's how these things continue to build. You see, this is the first time anyone, well, this is not the first time, um, but this is a very rare occasion where AEW does grant someone their release when they've requested it. Um, that, considering how everything is going on with the AEW news cycle, could spin into something else. You have no idea what could actually go on. So I admire him, so succinctly um, sharing these things, but also kind of like, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I'm going to be. This is what I'm doing. Thank you guys. And yeah, it was very, very good. I appreciate it.
Next up on No Holds Barred, Swerve Strickland went on the Sessions podcast with Renee Paquette and said that his first few months in AEW erased his memory of the last 3 years he spent in WWE. For the first year, he said he felt like he was just a good hand to have, and that's also what built up a lot of his resentment. And it started to build because he put over Leo Rush, Cameron Grimes, Santos Escobar, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theories. I kept putting these people over. He continued to have conversations with Triple H, like, when am I going to be your guy? What's it going to take for me to be your guy? And he was like, I guess he would just be upset because of that. He said I was stare holes at Matt Bloom all day in production. I wanted him to feel the heat I was glaring on him. And finally, when I did have a conversation, I'm like, "What's your hesitation with putting the ball in my hands?" Sorry. And he gave me the answers that kind of felt like they were repetitious answers from the person asking him, in the one before.
I think he felt like he deserved to be in a place. So, all right, where do I start? Where do I start? Um, I'm glad he feels like he has all the creative control and be able to perceive this thing that he actually thinks that he is in AEW. Um, However, when you sign to someone else, I mean, if he wants to be the top guy, he can definitely start his own wrestling company. But when you sign to a wrestling company, you essentially become, they have priorities. They have people that they're looking out for, people that they want to thing, and not every time Swerve is the priority for them. And I think, to
Is
be
he the
honest,
priority? Is he the priority in AEW?
I think he's a,
Be real. Be
project,
real.
but probably not, to be honest with you.
That's a yes or no. Is he?
Nah, because if he was, he wouldn't be brought in the way he was and immediately slotted into a tag team.
Thank you.
I think the my own issue with him is I believe he thinks that he's bigger than he actually is and he contributes more than he actually does. Um, Clearly, he has this idea of himself that he's, someone that bringing in this thing and bringing in opportunities to AEW and such like that. Great. I think he's crediting himself for the Kevin Gates thing, which is cool. But like at the end of the day, what does that mean in the grand scheme of things? Are you bridging the gap? How are we bridging the gap? Like, how is AEW continuing to kind of showcase everything that he's contributing to this company, or he says that he's contributing to this company?
I
I
mean,
think he's
coming in and saying I'm gonna leapfrog Leo Rush is crazy.
coming in and just, I think
I
he's
mean, I
gonna
know
run
Leo.
into. I think he's gonna run into the same problem that he did in WWE with AEW. He just
I
hadn't
mean,
yet.
He didn't leapfrog anybody there.
No, he didn't, and he's not going to. To be honest with you, I think once again AEW has a lot of priorities. This is the way Tony Khan runs things. He runs things on kind of numbers and who brings in the ratings and stuff like that. So he's constantly featuring the same players on the show. You're going to get the Bryan Danielson, Hangman Page, Orange Cassidy, Jungle Boy, da 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 da. So where does Swerve slot into this? Has Swerve proved to be any kind of draw in any, in any sort of the way? No, not yet. Could he be in the future? Maybe, but right now it's not the case. He doesn't seem to be a priority. He's not even the most popular person in this in his own program right now.
They're going for the scissor me niggas over him, just like they went over the To the Moon guy over him, Santos Escobar over him. I mean, granted, he says when he talked to Shawn Michaels and they looked at his match with Riddle as some indie outlaw mud show match, that's when he started the turn started to happen. But it's like I just don't see how. Like, again, it don't ring. It doesn't ring true for me. But I mean that's his experience. You know what I mean? I didn't have his experience, but it just looks crazy to say like, oh yeah, I put over all these guys who were like you said, Meelz, they're slotted above you already. What did you
I don't
think?
think he's not at this point of this career. He's not a game changer. Whether he's currently in the company or not in the company, it's going to continue to turn the way it turns. It's not like CM Punk where there's a loud, gaping, hole in kind of how things is, or Kenny Omega, or the Bucks or something along those lines. He's not there yet. And he hasn't been there in any company. I think he's salty that he felt like he should have been afforded more opportunities in WWE, similar to other people, based on his skill and I guess rapping. But that's just not the case. And you kind of gotta. I won't say wait your turn, but yeah, you gotta kind of wait your turn. They have projects, they have priorities, and the best thing you can do is do your job incredibly well and hope that you cut through. And if you don't, then you do what so many other people do. There's more than one company now, and you decide to take your talents to the other company. But I guarantee you, the same thing that happened there is going to happen here.
They have been long gaming his heel turn for months. And if that is what this whole thing is leading to, is you going from a babyface corny rapper wrestler to a heel corny rapper wrestler, it is the exact same thing that you did in AEW or in NXT. I'm sorry.
He couldn't even get his man's on, which I mean, I don't think they're actually. I don't know if they're actually friends, but Hit Row, the rest of Hit Row, he couldn't even actually get them. Nor do I feel like that was a priority for him.
I mean, they're in a much better slot. I just think
They're,
that whole
yeah, they're in a much better slot.
yeah, like they're in a much better. We'll talk about it on SmackDown,
We'll
but
talk about it.
like let's just go to SmackDown. Let's go to SmackDown. Let's go to SmackDown. Well, I guess the big thing here on SmackDown is the fact that Roman Reigns has an opponent for November at Crown Jewel. Pretty much, I mean, we knew he wasn't going to be in Extreme Rules, but this pretty much kind of confirms it. Hard confirms it that he won't be at Extreme Rules. But it'll be Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul, a match that was largely made up or developed on social media, and then it kind of like within
Apparently,
that
on this
48
podcast
hours.
that I listened to, that I didn't get. To be honest with you, I didn't gain anything from. I really didn't.
I didn't hear. I saw the clips. I didn't even. I was like, was there animosity on it, or this was just something that he did on Twitter after the fact?
No, I think they were cool for the most part. I watched their whole interview, but I wasn't even paying attention because to be honest with you, it was very surface level questions from someone who's clearly still new to the professional wrestling business. Now, what I garnered from this is that Logan Paul cares a lot about what he does, and he cares about he. I think he's just starting to get it, and he's trying to. He cares a lot about being better at it. That's what I gained most from it, but I didn't really learn anything new from Roman, to be honest with you.
No, and I mean this felt all PR, which is cool because again you're bringing eyes to the product, and then it made sense for him to be on the show, and then
Let me ask you. Let me ask you a question. Sorry to cut you off. If if Roman were to appear on another podcast, which podcast would you want Roman Reigns to appear on?
$1 million worth of game
Ooh, okay. He's
with
never gonna
Gilly and
drink champs,
with
right?
Gilly and Wallow. I want Wallow to talk about being in prison with Roman and be like, I know so many Samoan brothers in prison, man, and they're taking their life down this crazy path right now.
You don't want
So
Nori to ask him what actually is a Samoan.
Gilly, it's Gilly and Wallow. Remember this $1 million worth of game, not drink champs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Roman definitely couldn't do drink champs. They're not gonna let him drink. Like they don't like. Remember they don't. They can't be seen drinking and stuff.
Right, right,
So
right, right.
couldn't do that. So $1 million worth of game. Him and Gilly and Wallow. And I want at the beginning of the show for Gilly to dance. In the beginning of every episode, he plays some of the artist's music or he plays his favorite song. I want him to play the Roman Reigns theme and do the Gilly dance to that.
You might be able to make this happen.
Yeah, like other than our pod, and I mean we've had Roman on before. I interviewed him at a 2K event, and we put that up here a couple of years ago. But like I think what this thing is like the pods that they choose are just so random, and I honestly think it's about who you know. So
Mm,
like other than impulsive, then Roman Reigns getting him on anything that won't be like fucking. They put him on Joe Rogan before they put him on something else. You know what I mean? Like they would put him on some wild shit before that, and I don't even think they put him on Joe Rogan just because of just the controversy that comes with that. You know,
right.
um, but now we have the press conference on Saturday. I don't know if you got a chance. Well, we were recording something top secret on Saturday, so we actually missed it. But I watched
Yeah.
it after the fact.
I didn't watch it after the fact. I was just like, okay, all right,
I,
cool.
I watched it. I thought it was really solid. I really wish they would do more stuff like this. I thought it was really enjoyable to watch. Roman just in rare form.
Triple H
That
at
whole
WWE means working on Saturdays.
Yeah, pretty much. This is happening, Meelz in Crown Jewel. Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul for the undisputed Universal Championship, Heavyweight Championship, however they say it. I that is the hardest title to say.
I'm just going unified WWE Championship.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Was there a lot of anger about this? I don't feel as though I saw a lot, but I wasn't really online on Friday or in Saturday when they announced it. Are people upset about this? Because I look
To
at
be
it as a
honest,
net.
I don't think a lot of people were online either. It didn't feel like it. Like I didn't feel like all eyes were locked in on this because it was kind of like I don't want to say it just kind of came out of nowhere, to be honest with you. Wasn't heavily promoted. I don't even think they had a location to announce on SmackDown when they had it.
They did.
All right, well, I don't know. Niggas weren't ready for it.
I mean, the press conference is already at a million views. So I mean, people were tapped in.
Yeah, I mean, people tapped in. Might have been after the fact, but I didn't. I don't know. I feel like I didn't see any much online conversation, probably because it was Saturday.
Maybe we just don't follow the right people. So I mean, it's
It's
doing
for me.
stellar, huh?
Nothing.
It's doing stellar numbers right now. I think. I mean, when this match happens, in November, it's definitely going to get some eyes there. to me, it's like a net positive just to have this. They're gonna go for the spectacle angle here, the same as they do with Jake Paul's fights, the same as they did with Logan versus Floyd Mayweather. The big thing and the big key here, as we go into the opening of SmackDown with Logan Paul, is that they are kind of selling us on the fact that Logan survived Floyd Mayweather. Now, anyone smart knows that Floyd, I think it was in his contract that he was not supposed to knock out, or he could not. They could not knock each other out. They could box, but they could not go for knockouts. I believe that was in the contract. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the key here is they're going to kayfabe you. They're going to say, "Yo, he survived 8 rounds with Floyd Mayweather. He could survive with Roman." Logan going into his "I was an amateur wrestler" bag. They're really selling you on the fact that this is a relative newcomer and a relative rookie, but there's some things that he's done in his life competitively, athletically, that may make him a good setup for Roman Reigns.
I agree with all that, to be honest with you. I mean, he's been proven, at least with that Miz match, I think he's proven to be very solid in the ring, and I think he cares a lot just based on that podcast himself. So I'm looking forward to this, but I'm interested in how it sells to the bigger audience that they're trying to capture for this. And is it just by the virtue of just like, okay, is it Logan Paul? Logan Paul will get people tuning in no matter what, or is WWE just going to try to that little bit more of an outreach to see if they can like, okay, let's tap into this audience, or let's go to the thing. And I think the press conference definitely helps with that, especially when you want to get press on your side. They had more than just wrestling press there. But it'd be interested to see how big this actually gets. Um, but hey, it's gonna be Roman Reigns versus Logan Paul.
I think it's going to be good. They're going to practice the shit out of this match.
We bogged our head for questions. Who's next? Roman's beating everybody, as being Logan Paul.
It was right in front of us. It was right in front of us this whole time, where it was like, okay, he signed a long-term deal. Even they even reported that he's only showing up mostly to like big name events. I was like, oh, it couldn't be Logan Paul. And so that, of course, it's got to be him, because he's going to sign this. He signed this big major contract a couple of months ago. Of course, he's going to do that. And it makes sense to me here. I think, again, this is a spectacle. This is something that's like much like Mr. T versus, did he go against Ali, Muhammad Ali, or am I wilding? That happened, right? Or Mr. No, it was Mr. T, Hulk Hogan. I'm
Yeah,
wilding.
yeah.
It's something like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, again, a celebrity. I call it best celebrity wrestling. It always gets eyes. It always brings eyes. Celebrity wrestling is definitely going to get the computers putin at Crown Jewel. So you had that opening with Sami Zayn, the Bloodline, Paul Heyman, and Logan Paul come out. What was your thoughts on the continuing Sami Zayn, Jey Uso thing on SmackDown? That seems to be, when Roman's out, that is the story of the show.
I love it. 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 And I'll say this is the kind of stark difference now of why I guess I'm enjoying SmackDown more than Raw. And I think it's also taking account that SmackDown is 2 hours. But that little thread and the entertainment that comes through this, and the fact that Solo Sikoa just was like, yo, Sammy, let's go. And Sammy's like, yeah, my to Jey Uso, the Jey Uso Sami Zayn thing. It's the perfect little bit of nuance that carries this feud. That's going to carry this feud to the next level. And while I think we missed one big news, but I think it's going to carry eventually over to this November pay-per-view that we've got called Survivor Series, because they had a big announcement over the last week. Maybe you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we definitely missed that one. Talking about getting all hot over Swerve. Triple H announced via the Ringer this week that Survivor Series will be bringing War Games to the main roster for the first time ever in WWE.
He could not wait. He couldn't wait. He could not wait at all.
You know what? That's fine. That's fine, because people are going to be talking about this. People are going to be talking about it. People are excited. They want to see how it's going to work. They want to see who is going to be in the match. Some choice quotes from this were the fact that he did confirm there's going to be a men's and women's War Games match. And the Survivor Series won't be just about brand warfare. It's going to have what he calls a storyline somewhat this time. I think there's just a couple of, the things that stuck out to me when he said that was that there are two major factions on these shows, or really like three. that you could really kind of build this around. I would love to see if Judgment Day can get in on that somehow. But obviously it's going to be Bloodline or a team of Bloodline members or all the Bloodline versus a team led by a Drew or a KO or somebody who has some type of infractions or anger or animosity towards the Bloodline. The Street Profits could be part of that as well. And then on the women's side, you have damage control. They could add two more members or one more member to make that four, and that would make sense. I think that there's so many ways you could go, and I'm glad that a lot of times in a lot of years that we've done this show, we've always talked about, well, Crown Jewel was right after or right before Survivor Series, or this pay per view was 2 weeks before this Survivor Series. We got to act like these people like each other now, and I'm glad we don't have to do that this year, because it's like, okay, we could get people from SmackDown who don't like the Bloodline and from Raw who don't like the Bloodline in the same way on the women's division, and it would make sense that way too. It's still an all-star concept, but it's against it's one uniting factor against them.
I mean, I just feel, I love don't get me wrong, I love everything that they're doing this year, and I'm fully supportive of it just for the freshness of it all. But I always felt like WWE, outside of the pretty much like the first year of Survivor Series and maybe 2019, always dropped the ball with the concept. It always felt like they were just like figuring it out at the last minute, when this is legitimately the All-Star game and you can do so much. I mean, even last year I went to Survivor Series myself and was just like, are we really having a battle royal for pizza right now? Like, why are we figuring this out like last minute? Like, I always felt like that was and the sponsor thing with the egg that got people up in arms for like 4 weeks, because it wasn't The Rock. Um, but I'm gonna miss it, the Raw versus SmackDown thing, if they decide to not go with it this year, because I do generally like that concept, and I feel like it's one thing per year that's an attraction, but they always manage to just kind of screw it up. And you always got to like put parts around it. This year you don't. And the War Games concept, I'm still not a big fan of War Games just in general. Um, but it's a great concept for this year based on kind of everything that we're going on, and you've managed to add the fourth Oos. Will Sami Zayn play in this picture? We don't know yet, but you know he's looking to be in the favor of not only the tribal chief, but I don't know, Solo Sequoia as well.
Yeah, I think, and not to say that Triple H would have messed up the brand supremacy thing, but common sense tells you more often than not in the past 3 years, since the pandemic, a lot of these guys end up on the same shows multiple times during the year. I mean, just on Raw and SmackDown this week, you had Raw people on the show. So like they play very fast and loose with the draft concept. I feel like they only stick to a hard rule of the draft people being only on their shows within the first 2 months of them doing the draft, and then after that they break all the rules. And that's another thing too. You notice we haven't had a draft, but they're adding this because we're not getting a draft. You know what I'm saying? So like it makes to me more sense that there's no draft because we don't have to switch these rosters. And I think to me and you, that has been another one of our big complaints about the Survivor Series, because the draft will only have happened maybe 3 weeks before, and then these people, we had to get the titles correct because they had fucked booking up so much, especially last year. They had fucked the booking up so much that a bunch of these people were on SmackDown with Raw titles, and they had to fix it. So like it became a real issue, and I'm glad that they're just saying, you know what, we're not even going to fuck with that. We've got two really hot stables, or groups of people that people could go against if they choose or decide to go that way, and you can still have Roman be in that. Like Roman in War Games to me is a moment. It's a big moment, because that's a match that we've never seen him in. It's a match that we haven't seen a lot of people in, and and the women get some shine. Another thing Triple H said in this is that they always talked about War Games having blood, and he said he feels as though blood was having blood right now in the regular sense of WWE is very irresponsible. And he goes on to say, they can create a story without using blood to do that. A lot of people would get up in arms about the smallest things that he says, but I'm like, I kind of get it here. Like, I've been fine without blood.
I mean, we haven't had blood for years. Why the hell do we have blood now? I'm so confused with that concept. Like, why would he have blood now? We haven't had blood for years. Literally have not had it for years.
Because of blood and guts, I guess. I don't know.
I
But
don't know, whatever. It just is what it is. But I don't think, unless Cody Rhodes has something to say about it, I don't think anybody else has any qualms about it, to be honest with you. No one's really trying to cut their face open.
Cody gonna get his blood one way or another. He
Hey
he
man,
gonna
you
make
gotta
it
bleed
happen.
on the inside. You gotta bleed on the inside, baby. Come on, you know.
Well, he gonna make the blood come out somewhere. He just oh shit, I cut my finger.
Uh,
Hold
Give me some pet
on.
blood right now.
You had Ricochet, Sami Zayn on the show. I'm glad to see Ricochet still continuing his winning ways. Um, it speaks to me a larger issue though on both shows, right?
Sure.
You have a lot of kept strong people. And
Okay.
remember NXT around 2017, 2018, you had this issue too, where booking had a lot of guys that they really liked, a lot of guys that they wanted to win all the time, and they never wanted them to lose, and they always looked strong, and they had no direction for them. There aren't enough titles to give out all these people. So it's like it's either you give them a storyline where they can lose and it would make sense, or you
You
give them a
have them show
title.
up on NXT and take a title and say, "Hey, we need a champion here."
Yeah, exactly. And you know, and they do that with Solo or they or the thing that's interesting with me, and I'm glad you brought that up, Meelz, is that I like the Solo North American defense because there's another title on the show with someone who should probably get a title, but someone who needs to be visible on the show with Madcap, right? Like we don't want to forget about Madcap. He's over. People like him. Let's give him something to fight for. So it's like with people like Ricochet, even on Raw, KO, they don't want him to lose ever. Gargano just debuted. He can't lose right now.
So I think that's the issue, and that leads to kind of my larger issue, especially with Raw, is when I think when a lot of your story is told in the ring, and not to say that I'm against wrestling on the show, but when wrestling is the proponent and is the driving factor of most things, you kind of get yourself into that situation as opposed to the stories. You can, in a story standpoint, give a reason why Ricochet would lose in this situation. Now Ricochet is going to win, but they're not doing anything with Ricochet anyway. But they're keeping Ricochet strong for what? I don't know. He's not. He
Well,
faced Gunther? No.
well, it seems as though that's what they want him to do is to go back and see if he could do this face Gunther again. Like I wouldn't mind seeing it
I
again.
wouldn't mind seeing it again neither. But it feels like the Sheamus Gunther thing right now. You shouldn't step in the way of that. Like, that's
No, no, not at all, not at all. But down the line, yeah, a triple threat could happen. You know, a lot of things could happen there to just keep him in the mix. That's why I don't think that he should have lost to Mello because
no,
now
I
he's back
agree.
on SmackDown. That's why he's back on SmackDown strong.
You see
You
SmackDown
know,
winning against people who are main roster and all these other people. Yeah, it just seemed weird to me of why he lost to Mello in that kind of way. Um, but I mean that's kind of the overall I think issue with Triple H's product. It's like it's the gift and the curse.
okay. Well, here's the thing. Let's not say that it's this his product right now. We're only 2 months in.
I mean, yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But I'm only critiquing it off of the last 2 months of like it being very much so in ring driven stuff. Like everything is in ring driven,
And
and
that's good.
no, there's a great part to it. But also, you're not able to. We also got to be able to tell these nuances and these stories, things as well. And we got to have these segments. And also, you break up kind of the show a little bit, and we'll get to Raw and my feelings on how Raw went. But you get to break up a little bit during the show, but I think they did. I think SmackDown had some. I think SmackDown benefits because you can't fit everything in a 2 hour show, that you're able to maneuver with a lot more things, like Braun Strowman breaking up Maximum Male Models. You're about to have a match.
Yeah, but whereas SmackDown, I feel does have like the I guess those moments. They're not really like entertainment segments, but like they're just small nuances. But like
Yeah,
Raw
you get
to
Shotzi
me,
coming out as a face, which to me was like,
Raw to
go ahead.
Raw to me has the stronger stories in terms of like especially one particular one that's just that to me is just better than whatever Roman Reigns has going on. Other than the fact that we laugh at Sami Zayn,
Sure.
um, they gotta break this maximum male model shit up. I think it's over. I think it's just slowly they're just slowly killing it.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. It's interesting. If they wanted to kill it, they would do what they do to Veer and not have him on the show, right?
Yeah,
That's how I
true.
feel like if they, but there's definitely still some calling for it, and maybe it's Bruce Pritchard on SmackDown. Maybe he's booking SmackDown or something. But but there's a reason why they're definitely still on the show and still featured on the show, especially in their massive build up to them actually debuting. So it'll be interesting, but I think they're definitely a necessary tag team for the tag team division. So I don't know if they're gonna break. I don't know if they're necessary, but they add something different to it.
I like the spontaneity of having Drew McIntyre pop up and cut up the promo responding to Karrion Cross.
I like
I'm
it as
into
well.
this. I'm really into this. I like that they've kept Karrion out of the way. Just like I said the other week, like I forgot Karrion was even on the show, and when he popped up, it was a shock again. You know what I mean? When he popped up on Drew a couple weeks ago, um, I would imagine this is probably booked for Extreme Rules. I would love to see. They got me. You got me. I want to see what Karrion has, and I want to see what Drew can do with him. I like the intensity from Drew. It seems like we're firmly in the Karrion thing right now until they figure out this Roman stuff. So I liked it this week. What else
I
happened
feel like we're
here?
gonna be like until they figure out the Roman stuff, and then we'll wait another 18 months for this man to get a title shot again.
It's so unfair. I love Drew so much, bro. Like
I
I
like him
really do.
too. I like him too.
I like Fatal Four Way was the main event here. Hit Row versus New Day versus Brutes versus Imperium. To me, one of these things was not like the other, even though like all of them worked really hard.
I like the effort of everybody in this match. I'll say that.
Clearly some people were working and they were workers way better than other workers.
Hey, but listen, we got to put them in the ring with the good workers so they step their game up as well.
Did you feel as though they stepped their game up here?
Yeah, I think they
All right.
contributed their part to the match. I ain't have nothing. There was nothing wrong with that match to me. I think everyone played their role,
I
how
didn't
they
say
should
there was
play their
anything
role.
wrong with the match.
No,
I
no,
didn't
no.
say anything wrong with
I
it.
didn't. But I didn't say that you said there was anything wrong with the match. I said there. To me, there wasn't anything wrong with the match because everybody played their role.
After the fifth top dollar stare off, I was like, listen, I get it. He's big.
Nigga, big is a big guy, man. You gonna stare.
Get it. I'm like, why is he having to stare down with Butch? Like,
You gonna
okay.
stare. You gonna stare. That's how we book the territory these days. We staring at people.
So
Um,
we had a good like 20 something minute match here. New Day, of course, working. They got to find something for these guys to do, or just split them off.
New
Like they got to find.
Day, give them solo runs again. Give them solo runs. Gunther versus Kofi would be good for the crowd.
I feel like Kofi too old to be doing that shit. They need to give that to Xavier.
Kofi is still in good shape. He still looks good, man. He still looks
Xavier
good.
bumping Xavier bumping for Gunther to me is a dream.
I think Kofi versus Gunther is the match, considering Kofi has all the accolades that can continue. Well, all right, well, people then.
There you go. Yeah, shut the fuck up. There you go.
Kofi has all the accolades that Gunther kind of like continue to put him over. He beats a former WWE champion. He beats a former Intercontinental champion. He has a lot of accolades, and he's also still incredibly popular when he has a kendo stick in his hand. Um, quick things from SmackDown. Sad to hear about the Viking Raiders. Eric getting injured again. That was tough.
Yes. Yes. I was wondering where they were. Now we know where they are. They had listen, they had just started getting a push. They
They
beat the
just
New Day
won.
3-0. They just won their biggest match. It seemed to me the tag titles were for theirs for the taking, or at least to compete for them was there for the taking. Triple H is now in control, and you know Triple H loved these guys. They were pushed very heavily in NXT, and now this happens. I'm gutted for them, man. That really sucks.
It's a bad situation. Also featured on SmackDown, we had Bailey versus Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel trying to, I guess, defend the honor of Aaliyah, who's also injured,
Yep,
and
sucks.
then Shotzi comes out and she's a face again. I'm a big fan of Shotzi as a face. Didn't know why she was a heel. She did the best she could, but she's a face.
It was a good turn.
Great turn.
I liked when she
Great
turned.
turn. I liked
It
it
was
as
a really
well.
good turn.
And what was your
Uh,
thoughts on this Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey stare down?
it was kind of hot, man. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was like, wait, all right, step aside. Okay. Step aside, Kayla. Wait, no, come back. Um,
Kinda hot, not gonna lie. No, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I liked the setup of the Extreme Rules thing. I said, yes, yes, give us the stipulations. Give it, I want to see these stipulations happen. I'm digging the stipulations. I'm glad I was glad to see some of the intensity behind it. I really dug it. I really did dig it. I think it's gonna be a good match. Win or lose, I think Liv comes out as just a net positive for her. In general, just for being able to get these reps against somebody like a Ronda Rousey and stuff like that. Like, I think it's gonna be a good match.
I agree.
I'm all in. I'm all in on Liv Morgan, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm all in on Liv Morgan. I
Love
fuck with her.
Liv. We love Liv here. We love Liv on the show.
I fuck with her. Let's go to Raw Monday
Okay.
night. I felt a little different about it than a lot of people in our Discord did. Or I don't know. I didn't go back and read it, but I thought it was, to me, like, out of the last 2 months of Raws, I was like, it was the one I was kind of like the most whatever ish on. I just don't. I didn't think Seth and Bobby had the best chemistry to me. It wasn't the best match to me. It was just long. I was like, it was like I can dig a longer match if it's like people who have chemistry, but like Bobby shouldn't be working matches that long. You know what I mean?
But I feel like my problem is everybody. No offense, I love people to get time and stuff like that, but everyone had long matches, and that's great. But not everyone needs to have these long matches.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought Bailey and Alexa was a really good match.
I thought, you know
The
what,
end of the show.
good man. I mean, I personally didn't think it should have ended the show, but I get where we're at. This is Bailey country, um, so that came to me all after the fact. Um, I didn't think Kevin Owens and Austin Theory, who seemed to be fighting over nothing,
They're
needed.
fighting over they're fighting over the fact that he came out, cut that promo, and basically said that he ain't shit unless he proves it. They're not fighting over nothing.
But what's so all right? So which direction are they heading into from this feud? Like, where are we going? Like,
You
to me,
literally just
the
said that
feud was
talked
the
about
feud is Austin Theory versus Johnny Gargano. So why is
with Kevin Owens mixed.
Kevin Owens in his corner? Is he? What are we doing?
They have not wavered. They have not wavered from the fact that Theory makes multiple enemies on the main roster and has multiple enemies. They have not wavered from that. Now you have somebody that's from his past and somebody that has been like him in the past. You're getting, by proxy, you're getting Johnny Gargano some of those reps and some of the rub from Kevin Owens, who people universally love in every state, not just a couple of states. And you're going against somebody that people universally hate. It's fine for it, here's the thing. We just said Ricochet doesn't really have a story. He has no direction. In theory, has a direction with two different guys, and they're both sensical. One of them because Kevin Owens doesn't think he's worth the hype, and two of them is because he does is that Theory doesn't think Gargano's worth the hype, even though he was under him.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Like, it does work. I'm not. That's why I said, like, Raw to me has the stronger stories because some of them are like a lot more sensical, whereas SmackDown is just kind of like a lot of things happening and us like laughing at Sami Zayn. But Ricochet still has nowhere to go. He's still like aimless. I would rather him be in the mix with this than whatever in the mix he is over there. Like,
I think in terms of me, Raw just seems to like plod along, and I think it's a majority because there doesn't seem to be an actual like pace with the show. Like you can
there's a
do it, not
I can't agree. And
me
I'll
or a
give you
pulse
that.
to the show.
I'll give you the malaise of the long matches. I'll give you that this week. But I thought that there were some really inspired segments on the show this week. I even thought the Miz segment was really good in establishing Dexter Loomis as somebody that you shouldn't really fuck with, and
Of course.
that you want to get to know more about him. Um, and if you want to talk about something I thought really landed for me this week, it was the Judgment Day segments. I thought the Judgment Day segments really landed for me. And again, this is a through line because you have a big bad here, you have a big bad stable who they've established and they've actually, to me, somewhat rehabbed from where they were a couple of months ago. And they're in multiple different storylines. Now they're branching off into AJ Styles, who's back. And Finn and AJ have history. And now they're again another callback. Finn basically dipped on AJ high and dry. They never explained that, and now they're gonna attempt to explain that now. And I'm like, that makes sense to me. I like that. And but I mean, you look no further than Dom. I like the reaction that he got, and I was like, yo, he's the biggest heel here. I think there might be onto something with him because they already hate the kid. They've been waiting to boo Dom for a while because they probably already thought that he wasn't worth, he couldn't raise boots, and now they get to really say how they feel about him, and that gives him a bigger heel, situation. I just don't want him to be. I don't want him to be hidden behind these reactions and not get better. And I feel like that happened with a lot of like heel turns in the Attitude Era, where you have people like, what was her name, Terry, and not Terry, Tori. She turned, or like some people like turned on somebody, and then they never really got better. They just kind of soaked up all the heel heat, and it didn't really mean anything.
I think Raw, and I agree with all of you, all the storylines there. I just think it's missing a pace for the show. Like all those things can be true, but I don't think it like okay, we're that live aspect of the show feels missing in this show to me because of
What is
how
a
it's structured. I mean, the fact that anything can happen. It's live television, you know?
Dexter Loomis put a knife through the ring and got from under it.
Right, but that's a segment. I mean, this is all segments produced. I'm talking about things that are like, okay, that come out of nowhere. You knew that Dexter Loomis was going to show up in the Miz segment.
You didn't know how.
Yeah, but he was going to show up nonetheless.
You said anything could happen, and that
Yeah,
was
but he showed up in the segment like he was going to. Like whether he showed up, whether he walked down the ramp, whether he came repelled out the sky, whether he did anything else. Like,
I'm lost. Okay, I'm lost because
okay,
from one, it's the entertainment thing, and it's just like you pretty much know what to expect from the entertainment thing. You said you missed that. Okay, well,
I
that's
didn't miss
pretty
that.
predictable every time too. When has Raw been like SmackDown? Isn't even that.
No, I agree. SmackDown isn't that neither.
Like you can't do that every week. It's impossible for
But
him
you
to
can't
continue
do
to
this
compete.
every week too. Like this is like the pace that you go through the show. Like there's no you don't kick off the show with kind of like the energy of it. And you talk about this Bobby versus Seth match, which is great. I mean, it's a high profile match and stuff like that. But you build the show, you have this great long match, and you have the spectacle of a match, and then you introduce another one, and then another one, and then another one, and then suddenly, all the matches don't feel as strong as they were because they're all these like kind of like these marathon, long 2 segment, 3 segment matches.
But I
And
feel like as
and
much
then
as you
and
might
then you
not like it,
miss
I feel like
then you
a lot
miss
of people
parts of the
like that.
show.
But I feel like a lot of people like that though. I mean, the ratings are proving it. I
I mean,
feel like a
people
lot of
definitely do
people
like that, yeah.
I'm just going from the litmus of like what we've seen in the past 2 months and how these shows have grown. I really think that people like are reactive, and that's why they keep doing it because people really like the fact that there's matches on the show, and they like that they're lengthy, and they like that they get to see that their favorite wrestlers kind of show what they got. We were in not even 2 months ago. We were 5 months ago looking at sub 5 minute matches on this show weekly, and asking why we weren't getting to see what KO could do without a commercial break or some silliness happening or some 24/7 niggas running in. Like we were getting that and we were not liking it. So it's like I don't want to completely turn on this because as much as I could say okay I didn't feel like they had chemistry, I'm not going to say they weren't working hard. I'm not going to say it was a bad match because it wasn't.
I didn't say any of them were bad matches. I definitely didn't say any of that. I just said
If I had any issue with Monday night, it was there were too many distraction finishes, and I felt like this was. It felt like it was. I was like, okay, this is the week where they don't want anybody to lose, or to lose cleanly.
I think I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of my thoughts. My general thing is I'm a storyline driven person. And granted, there's definitely parts of that on the show, but it also misses the the pace of like the Monday Night Raws from before that to
That
me.
we hated.
No, I didn't hate all of them. No. But I'm talking about the ones in terms of like shows that I actually like. Let me say it. Let me take I'm speaking for
Which
myself.
ones from
I'm speaking
Vince's?
from myself. I'm speaking from
I'm just
myself.
I know, and I'm going to ask you from your perspective, which one of the Vince Raws from the last year or so in his tenure from his last year did you enjoy?
Huh. Okay.
Did you honestly remember?
I remember the one where okay, I guess that's from 2020. I was gonna say Drew versus Randy. Um, let's see.
And those 2020 ones were all matches, also, by the way.
But I like the one. I mean, there was one made evented by Bianca and Charlotte that I really enjoyed as well. Like to me,
That was a long match.
I mean, no, I'm not saying. I'm not saying. First of all, it's a long match at the end of the show. I'm not saying anything against it. I say when you have multiple of these things throughout the show, you kind of take away from the pace and stuff, and that's how you end up missing things. You know what I'm saying? Because you're so like, oh, okay, this match is continuing to go on, and you go on, and then you're like, oh, okay, I'll come back to it, and then but if everyone loves it, go for it. But I'm more of a storyline driven person, so like when and just the pace of the show
And
just kind of seems off to me.
I have proven to you that Raw still contains these same storylines, if not stronger than the show you just said you enjoy more.
I'm
SmackDown, the only story on SmackDown, Liv and Ronda barely got any story this week. The only story, the only thing that matters on SmackDown is Roman Reigns or whatever his boys is doing.
I'm
That is the
saying
problem with SmackDown.
I'm saying these long matches. I don't think everything needs to be a long barn burner of a match. That's all I'm saying. Especially when you have a pay per view coming up with most of these people similar. So
But it ain't these matches though. Because we would have got Rollins and Seth again. Or not Rollins, we would have got Rollins and Riddle again on free TV if Vince was still there.
this is true.
Speaking of them, we got the setup for the fight pit, which I completely forgot. I did not see that they announced because I was in the bathroom last night. But that's exciting. I love the stipulations. It should be Extreme Rules. They're putting the Extreme back in Extreme Rules, so I dig that already.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you got the Brawling Brutes versus Street Profits. I thought it was really good. Not gonna lie to you, I thought Ridge showed me a lot in this.
Hold on, sorry. I was checking something. No. I was checking something. I like the match. I did.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's all I got to say. My brain was on something else. Sorry. I like the match.
We had another tag match between Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus Rey Mysterio and Matt Riddle. Again, this carried a lot to me, whereas it would have just been like a whatever match because you had the Dominic factor, you had the Seth Rollins factor interweaving into that as well.
I
There was a
absolutely
lot
agree.
of things that there was a lot of things I felt worked, and I'll go on a limb and say that the Judgment Day is probably the most enjoyable thing on the show to me, or one of the most enjoyable things on the show to me, because of, again, you're interweaving so many storylines, so many people that these people have touched and that they have had interactions with throughout the last 2 years. The moment Rhea sees Bianca again, that's going to be a moment because she's going to say, what the fuck happened to you? The same way AJ did with Finn on this. And the same way we see Dominic. And again, he's developing the cockiness, the out of pocketness of this crew is just really dope. I love what they're doing with Judgment Day. And this match was really enjoyable to me as well. We also had the Miz. I got a sinking feeling that if they want to do something silly, they would just have like they would have Loomis work with Miz. I feel like Loomis wants to be in Miz's entourage, and he doesn't want to actually wrestle him.
That would be hilarious.
I feel like he wants to be in the entourage. Like, to me, that's the most natural. Because here's my thing: him wrestling ain't his strong suit, and we walked over Braun Strowman on SmackDown. But it seems to me that his situation right now is that he shows up to destroy things and he leaves. And I think that's the best thing for Braun Strowman to do right now. So I want Triple H to work on these guys' strengths. You're on an entertainment show. You're on main roster. I don't need to see Dexter Lumis really wrestle like that. Why don't we see him do really fun stuff with the character? Like, I think that would just be a stronger lead in than like whatever the hell he was doing on NXT. I think you had like maybe two really good matches that I really liked, and one of them was with Roderick Strong. I mean, anyone could have a good match with Roderick Strong.
I agree.
And then main event time, you had Bayley versus Alexa Bliss. Loud Bayley sucks chance, really loud in her hometown. I thought that she really got some good heel heat here. Alexa Bliss working, show off.
I like this match, but I feel like there's some not hot take coming out of this match. I feel like we need more, a tinge more. And I talked about this in the Discord after the match. I think we need a tinge more uncertainty for Bianca. Like a tinge more. But overall, Bliss versus Bayley was great. But I just feel like with Bianca booking as a face, I feel like I still expect her to win, no doubt. But I want there to be some doubt in this Bayley versus Bianca thing, because they eventually do announce at the end of the match that Bayley wants to face Bianca for a title match at Extreme Rules.
But again, this was another chapter in that story, and I feel like every match this week had another chapter added to the story that they were telling. With Theory, you had another chapter added to the Gargano loop. You had another chapter added to the Kevin Owens loop. Kevin stayed strong for whatever they're planning on him to do.
Mm-hmm.
With this at the end, I love the idea that Bliss was unsure of who she was, or could she really be that ferocious Alexa Bliss that she used to be,
Mm-hmm.
and Bayley taking advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bayley, the big joker, we knew the Extreme Rules match was coming, but it had to come on her own terms. And again, it's about control for Bayley. I really enjoyed that. I think the uncertainty, like, here's my thing. I don't think she's necessarily going to lose to Bayley. I don't think that she should, but I think that even if she does, I mean, it would definitely be a good twist on her character. I just, the thing is that, like, it's that second run, man. That second reign is always like the longest for if you're a star. Like, I just
Yeah,
don't see it happening.
but
But
I mean, I don't expect her to lose, but I feel like to make this, I guess, I don't know. I feel like it just needs a little bit more compelling nature to it. To me, the feud isn't that compelling at all. It just seems like she kind of came in and then kind of this faction, that faction, da 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 da, but it hasn't really gone up to
well, they need
that
to play
level.
up. They need to play up on their history a lot more than they did when she first walked in.
I feel like Bianca needs to have some like discernible doubt and to express that doubt, like even just a little bit.
I don't.
I think
I don't,
I
because
think go
the
ahead.
thing is, I mean, you can say that for her, but we never say anything when Roman doesn't have any doubt.
I
We
would
book against him.
love that too. No, we've
But I'm
talked
saying
about that before in the past. We've talked about
we
that before in the
openly
past.
we openly predict against him when he doesn't have any doubt that he's going to win or lose.
I
Just
don't
just
I
just
I
for,
definitely
for the
said he was gonna
chaos.
win.
No, I said we've booked against him in the past.
Of course.
Just off of the uncertainty of like, okay, they wouldn't book him that strong, would he? There ain't nothing wrong to me with a woman being that dominant, or with the Bianca Belair being that dominant. It's like, it's the same type of run that Charlotte gets, and we barely ever question that. We, in fact, make it a
That's a
meme.
lie.
We barely question it. We make it a meme,
to me,
especially in the past couple years.
to me, in terms of especially with characters like Charlotte and like Roman and like Bianca in this instance, I do feel like you need that level of like, what does it do for the opponent if you're just completely confident with everything that they throws at you? They could beat you up one week and you come back the next week like, yeah, I'm ready to fight again. Like, have she's beaten her multiple times and Bianca comes back the same confident thing. It's just like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so what did we
Cena
get
did
out of
too.
this situation?
Cena did too.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it
When
good. It just happened.
it's top guy shit.
Yeah, but that doesn't make it good.
She's still selling merch. Niggas is still
But
fucking with her.
that
When those reactions start to turn down, and she can do that doubt storyline,
that's
then you can do
cool.
that there.
That's cool,
There's
but that
nothing
doesn't make
wrong.
it good.
There's nothing wrong with a strong baby face. There's
No,
nothing
there's
wrong with a strong
nothing
baby
wrong
face.
with a strong baby face, but you at times you want to build, at least for a story, build at least a little bit of uncertainty for the opponent.
She got beat up this week. There you go. The numbers game.
Listen, man.
Numbers game. I just said numbers game. She hasn't beaten all the damage control by herself. They have explicitly not booked her to do that by herself. She's been beaten because of the number game each. She got pinned because of it. It Clash of the Castle.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers game is where she has her advantage at. That's the doubt. And I don't.
So,
I don't need her.
but
I don't need
she
her to
needs
fake
to
me.
express that doubt. She needs to express that doubt, like as a character. Like all this doesn't weigh upon you.
Just one chapter of this. This is just another chapter. We'll see what happens one
But
day.
we
If she
just
doesn't, then we
no.
can complain about it.
Yeah, of course.
She did,
But
and to be clear, she did address that she got pinned at Clash of the Castle, and then she know what she did. She immediately challenged Bayley to a match, to a match, and Bayley said no. She did address that.
I feel like there still needs to be doubt in the character.
But she
As much
just,
as she acknowledged,
I just gave
she
you an
acknowledged
example.
that what you just explained was she acknowledged that she lost and she challenged her for a championship again.
Because she earned it.
But
She said, "You
you're
earned
not
it.
showing
You
the.
got it."
No. I'm trying to say
Why do you
express
want her to have doubt? I don't get it.
because it makes for a much more fully formed character and it's a legitimately realistic thing. Sometimes
She
you
had
lose
the doubt
multiple times.
storyline
Sometimes
already.
sometimes basketball players when they go to the finals multiple times. No, but why you? I'm listening to what you're saying. Listen to what I'm saying. Sometimes basketball players they go to the final multiple times, and they feel like, okay, they're Eastern Conference champions, and then that doubt after you lose in the finals or you lose to things, it takes a toll on you, especially if you lose in a in a playoffs thing and you're down 3-1 or something along those lines. It takes a toll on you. Now you definitely do want to come back and you'll say, oh, you're stronger, but you don't want to. You acknowledge, oh, these losses, but you don't want to say that they don't necessarily weigh on you, because even basketball players don't do that. Like, to me, to have a fully formed, excuse me,
She lost in a tag match.
I understand,
The
but
playoff.
she's lost to Bailey multiple times, is what I'm saying, and got beaten up by Bailey multiple times. So let's build a situation where we express it that for Bailey's own character, to make her feel like an actual threat, beyond just beating them up, because that's what everybody does at this point. Everyone on this show just beats people up. So it's no different than anything else on this show, to be honest with you.
That's not true. But go ahead. Finn
So
didn't beat up AJ.
I mean, but he's beating up AJ. He didn't beat up AJ this week because AJ's in street clothes. But he's beating up Rey Mysterio multiple times and Dominic multiple times. Like, let's not act like just because this thing didn't happen on this show, it hasn't happened before.
Man, I just don't get. I'm not. You will not see me complain about Bianca looking strong after niggas complained a whole week or a whole year about her
complaining about Bianca looking strong. I'm complaining about the character.
She had the doubt storyline right now. The storyline they're telling right now, to me, is that the numbers game is overwhelming for her, and that could lead to her losing the title, just like it led to her getting her ass beat as soon as Alexa and Oscar were taking out the picture. That's the story to me.
So she's never going to acknowledge it as her own character. She's just going to show up every week and be like, "Hey, bitch."
She's never done that, but she's never done that. She hasn't done that. She acknowledged that she's already lost
once, but it hasn't happened in a while, and it actually was against Bailey.
It happened 2 weeks ago.
I think you're all right. Whatever. We're not going to agree on this. I think you're misviewing me. I think what you think acknowledging is, like, acknowledging something happened isn't the same thing as something affecting you, and you acknowledging that, as opposed to acknowledging the situation, as opposed to acknowledging how you're feeling. I think that's where you're getting, that's where we're not on the same wavelength with it. That's all I'm saying. To make a
you just want her to be down in the dumps for losing in a tag match, and I'm like, that's just not what she's been written as. She's confident. But she's confident because she finally beat Becky and got past that. She can take a loss now because she's taken the biggest loss of her career. Okay. She's even said that in promos.
Okay. You just have the same thing going over and over and over again.
Hey, I'm just saying, I'm reading the text as it's given to us on TV. I'm not making up any text that they haven't given me already.
You can acknowledge that perhaps maybe the text isn't as enthralling or as good as it is. You're just acknowledging these things happen. But no, you're acknowledging these things happen. You don't care whether it's good or actually not. You just care that it happens.
That's not true. What are you talking about? I just gave you multiple examples of stories that are in process, that are happening, that I'm compelled and enthralled in, that I'm waiting to see, the next chapter of. Just because Bianca isn't down in the dumps for losing a tag match doesn't mean that there's nothing compelling there. You still got the Bailey match that they still haven't done yet.
Okay.
If she loses, she gets that. If she loses the title, she gets to have that moment of self-reflection. But right now, she's getting beat the fuck up by her team. That's the story. That's the subtext.
Nah, it just isn't good to me.
That's fine.
It just
let us know what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know what you think. It lacks to me.
In the comments and the replies. I thought Raw was still solid, even though it was, to me, the weakest of the last 6. But there's definitely still some strength going on there. I would say that in terms of just the fall, usually this is kind of a down period in wrestling. I definitely don't feel that with especially just some of the stuff happening on SmackDown and Raw. I'm super excited for Extreme Rules now that we have some stipulations, and we got something to look forward to in Survivor Series, which we haven't had a match announced for, and Crown Jewel, which we had one match announced for. So we got 3 big things coming up, and you got Grand Slam this week. So listen to the War Report with Cyrus and Quan, where they review that show. And then next week we'll have more stuff for you guys. I think we got some pretty cool shit coming up on Patreon as well. Make sure you subscribe. $5 down, get you free shows early, extra shows early, and you get video content from us and all of the content that you guys love from the Rewriters crew and the War Report crew. So For Meelz, I am Justin. Thank you guys for listening to the A Show, and we'll be right back with you guys next week for more of the latest and greatest in pro wrestling talk. Peace.